When I was 23 years old, I had a dream that I got in an elevator and it took me to this weird dimension slash hell. I didn't know that that was a phenomenon. I know that sounds silly considering the stuff I talk about, but yeah, I just found it a weird coincidence. And now I find this article on a website that talks about this game that apparently takes you there. The writer wrote down that this game is for entertainment purposes because it can be a very dangerous game. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a little bit of the instructions. So basically you just want to get into the elevator by yourself and make sure that no one disrupts this process. Take a screenshot if you like, or pause. And basically this is most of the directions. I'll post the article in the comment section, so keep an eye out for that. Let me know if you try this scary game. Warning, the following content may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Alright, so I've been talking a lot about this elevator ritual that originated in Korea, and it's a really popular urban legend how this elevator brings you to hell. It just hit me that this girl who died tragically in 2013 might have been playing that game. An example being that she had no drugs in her system, she somehow was a water tank that was a supply for the guests, but no one knows how she got to the very top or how she would even got in that water tank to drown. I'm gonna play this video clip, but keep this ritual in mind as we're watching it. Alright, here we go. So she's pressing all these buttons. She steps outside. This just gives me so much goosebumps. And then she does this weird thing with her hands, like, I don't know, like she's like talking to someone. I don't know, this is still... Alright, so this is like a follow-up to my last video, and I wanted to address some valid statements, concerns, questions regarding my last video. So for those of you that are not aware of the Eliza Lam case, she was a 21-year-old from Canada that stayed at the Cecil Hotel in downtown LA of February 2013. Her family grew very concerned, and even the residents that stayed at the hotel complained about the quality of the water. Eventually, someone found her at the very top. I believe it stated that it was a coworker or an employee that worked there. And then eventually when they did the investigation, they had to use more than one party to basically cut the water tank open to get her out of there. Now, the autopsy revealed that there was no drugs in her system, she was on medication, and overall she seemed very happy. And even if she was hallucinated and she ended up at the very top of the building and jumped in there because she was imagining something else, the question still remains. How did she get up there, and why would she take her clothes off? Alright, so we all like to rehash things of the past that have gone unsolved, that have eerie points and factors around it, and the Eliza Lam case is no different than that. Now, the movies came out in 2002, the Japanese version, and then the American rendition was in 2005. Keep in mind that Eliza Lam died in 2013. What's really interesting is the main character, her name is Cecilia, and the hotel where Eliza Lam died was in the hotel. And if you've seen the clip of Eliza Lam, you would know that it alluded that she might have been imagining things. And this movie also has a scene like that where she thinks she's holding someone's hand, but it's really no one there. Alright, I'm out of time, so I'm going to make another video. Alright, so this is part 2 of the eerie similarities between the movie Dark Water and the Eliza Lam case. So to backtrack a little bit, I forgot to talk about the Dark Water movie. Dahlia and her daughter end up moving into this apartment, and Cecilia sneaks to the rooftop and she ends up drowning in one of the water tanks. And just like in the Eliza Lam case, the tenants were complaining about the water quality. And that ends up revealing that there's a body in one of the water tanks. So another similarity I wanted to point out is the fact that both Cecilia and Eliza were wearing red. Weird coincidence. So I've been talking a lot about the Eliza Lam case, and I wanted to really focus in on the elevator ritual and just other stories that are not just the Eliza Lam case. So before I begin, I just wanted to put this disclaimer out there so you know. And I wanted to tell the story as if it happened to me, but I will disclose where you can find the story at the very end of this. Alright, so I normally don't believe in the supernatural, but about 3 years ago, my buddy and I went to San Francisco. And we were supposed to stay with our buddy, and my friend decided to really do the elevator ritual when we got there. So he told our buddy that lives in San Francisco to scope out a building that would be a perfect match to do this ritual. Well, we found this building and it looked really creepy, but whatever, he did his thing And then about 15 minutes, he comes out of the elevator and he's looking really confused. So I asked him what happened, but he's acting like he doesn't know me. And I thought he was messing around, so we just left the building. I'm out of time, so I'm gonna make the next video. All right, so this is part 2 of my last story. So again, warning, discretion. All right, so my buddy's not feeling very well the next day, and I'm seriously like asking him, like, okay, something's up with you. He said his head hurt, so we took him to the hospital. And while his stay at the hospital, things took a serious turn. Turns out that my friend had a breakdown in his interview, and the doctor started to ask me questions like, was he on drugs? Was he acting strange beforehand? I honestly couldn't give them an answer. And then his parents told me that I had to look for a new roommate because this was going to be an ongoing thing. Because it got so bad that his parents ended up having to go get him from San Francisco. So then 3 months later, I've seen all these bills piling up. So I call his parents and I tell them about that, and then they tell me that their son had killed himself. Like I said, I don't believe in the supernatural. I'll acknowledge the unknown. What I can say is that he was generally a normal person up until he did that elevator ritual. Don't know what caused his... On New Year's Day, this picture went viral, shared more than 60,000 times. What makes this picture very eerie is the subject in the photograph. A lot of people speculate that this is a demon, the Mothman, whatever have you. You get to decide that for yourself. Amongst the post being very interesting itself, people sharing their stories in these comment sections is what really caught my eye. This story in particular, you can pause it, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do, but I found this story very interesting as well. I mean, the fact that the dog was also reacting to whatever it is that they saw, it's kind of hard to shake that experience. Another user said that they have seen a lot of accounts like this and to message her privately. Some people have called it a hoax, some have said it's a palm tree, but there are no palm trees in Arizona, so it might be a different tree. And some people really believe it's a demon or the Mothman. What do you think? Alright, so this entry is from an Arizona witness, and it is a female. They didn't have a male entry one, so I'm probably going to move to the next state after this one, but the premise of the story is that she had a dream and that she saw a fairy. The fairy asked her if she knew what she was, and she said that she did. And then I guess as they were flying, they landed somewhere and they saw 4 little fairies, or like smaller fairies than the one that she was with, and that they turned into plastic dolls, and they had different ethnicities. One was white, the other one was Latina, and she couldn't distinguish the other two. I guess also it left her wondering if they're also bad fairies. So this is an interesting entry because my understanding from the Census is that they were trying to gather as much eyewitness stories regarding fairies, but I'm not sure if this dream one fits the mold, but it was included in there. So, I don't know. Do you know of the legend of the Loveland Frogman? The first sightings would be of March of 1972 on 2 different occasions. Both eyewitnesses claimed that this creature seemed to have humanistic qualities. One even described saying that the frogman had a smirk on his face while staring at the witness the whole time. Fast forward in 2016 when Pokemon Go was a hit, this couple seemed to have seen what looked like the frogman. These eyewitnesses described this entity to have the same characteristics of the eyewitnesses of 1972. I don't know, do you think the frogman exists? What do you think? Warning, the following content may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This, folks, is a bear. Yeah, it's a bear. And sometimes these sickly bears get confused for some type of paranormal entity, something out of this world, which I don't blame them. I mean, this doesn't look something that you would see every day. What's even scarier is that this doesn't just happen to bears, this happens to other animals. This is caused by Sarcoptes sacabe. I probably said this wrong, but take a pause, read it. It's pretty scary, right? Warning, the following content may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. There's been a lot of speculation around this Glee Curse. We all know that the first death from the Glee cast was on July 13th of 2013, who was Corey Monteith. A year later, another chilling discovery would be found. Becca Tobin's boyfriend would die a year later. And 5 years later from Corey Monteith's death would also follow Mark Saline, who committed suicide upon finding out that he was going to get sentenced for pedophilia. And coincidentally, they found her body today that marks the 7th year anniversary of Corey Monteith's death. And although autopsy reports have said that they ruled out suicide and foul play, a lot of people can't help but bring up some really crucial points to this case. You can take a pause here, but take a look. And although there's a lot of coincidences that allude to a curse around the Glee cast, one thing is for sure: may Naya Rivera rest in peace.